Cyberpunk 2077 was first used on January the 10th, 2013, and it wasn't until 5 years later, on June 10th, 2018, that we got our first official trailer. Right at the end of E3 2018 in the most glorious way possible. The show is wrapping up. The host is about to say thanks and goodnight, and then...
Have a great...
The game was hyped beyond CD Projekt Red's control, with massive promises of an open-world first-person shooter role-playing game set in a dystopian cyberpunk future, and with The Witcher 3 having been released just 3 years prior to the official Cyberpunk 2077 trailer, expectations were reasonably high. The Witcher 3, an immensely acclaimed fantasy RPG making hundreds of headlines due to its incredible writing and open world, and atmosphere, and immersion, and combat, and...
Looks like rain.
Maybe you've heard of it, it was kind of a big deal. Cyberpunk 2077, sit on sidewalks, attend business meetings, play pool, take a cab. What the fuck? It's a city of dreams, yeah, and I'm a big dreamer. Commit cybercrimes. Earn your ranks through Night City as a gun for hire in a world of cyber-enhanced street warriors, tech-savvy netrunners, and corporate life hackers. Today is your first step to becoming an urban legend. Get beat up in a motel, submit to schizophrenia, commit terrorism, and die. Or something like that. Cyberpunk 2077 is full of anti-corporation, the horrors of capitalism, insatiable greed, and the danger of technology over people. But none of these things is what the game is about. Unlike other games in the genre and the themes at play here, there's no grand story to be told. There's no foreboding villain scheming against you, no world is about to end, no outbreak to stop. Cyberpunk is not about the journey of becoming a legend, or being a hero, or revenge. This is a game about dying. It is about the entropy of death.
You don't believe in no fate. Every day digging the grave. Step in the pit with the snakes. City of dreams, city of gang. You don't believe in no fate. I might just dig up your grave. Step in the pit with a gang. City of dreams, city of gang, 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 gang.
There isn't much to V, your character, that you can change apart from gender and how you look. You get to choose between 3 different lifestyles: street kid, nomad, or corpo. This only really changes the intro of the game and gives you some different dialogue options throughout your playthrough. No matter what you choose, the actual intro cutscene with Jackie, however, remains the same. You get a montage of you and Jackie taking on gigs for fixers, meeting new people in the city, shooting guys, shooting more guys, beating some other guys, getting beat up by guys. You get the point. Act 1 starts off and you're tasked to prepare a heist at Konpeki Plaza, a grand luxurious hotel, and steal a data shard. Ask no questions, expect no virtues. We're put into contact with our job fixer Dexter Deshawn, who recruits us for the job. He sells us the dream of becoming a Night City legend. And how could we refuse?
One more thing, Mr. V. Quiet life or blaze of glory? Later now.
Eventually we get sent to an Evelyn Parker, go through a brain dance, basically a weird immersive 3D recording. The tech is not that important. And we meet Judy.
Hey, Judy.
The brain dance is recorded by Evelyn herself while she's with one of her regular clients, Yorinobu Arasaka, who has the data shard, also known as the Relic, stashed away in his personal suite at the hotel. Through the brain dance we get to read the heat signature of the room to find out where the Relic is stored, because it must be stored cold. Suit up, head to the lobby, send out the flathead, go get the Relic. But as we leave, Yorinobu comes back. We hide between the pillars of a massive TV and become witness to Yorinobu killing his father, the Emperor Saburo Arasaka. fuck this, leave quick, but uh-oh, bad guys. Big fall, Jackie slots in relic so it doesn't break.
En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, y del Espíritu Santo. Amén.
Get out.
Biochip. Hold on to it. For me.
The game throws us a huge curveball by killing Jackie before Act 1 is even over. Jackie, who has been in all of the promotional material, in the trailers, in the teasers, is gone. But we still have a job to finish. Jackie puts the biochip in us instead to keep it intact, and we head over to Dex.
No blaze of glory for me.
After this scene, we wake up in a junkyard. At this moment, unclear how, as we just got a bullet through our brain. We get rescued by Goro Takemura, bodyguard of Saburo Arasaka. Well, there goes my need for revenge. Initially, he was going to take us into Arasaka for questioning, but after other Arasaka goons turn on him, he decides to help us and drives us to our Ripper Dog friend Victor. And this is where the real story of Cyberpunk 2077 begins.
You weren't dreaming, V. Those were memories. There's a personality construct on that shard. Dreams you had were from his past.
Victor explains to us why the relic saved us and what he knows about it and how it works. He tells us that the data shard had a personality construct on it, one of Johnny Silverhand, a terrorist who nuked an Arasaka building in 2023 and died shortly after.
You, don't got a lot of time left, kid.
When we got shot in the head, the data shard with Johnny Silverhand's construct on it saw us as an empty vessel, and it is now leaking into our brain, slowly overwriting our own mind with what's on the relic. It's a ticking time bomb. Victor tells us that we are dying, and we only have a few weeks tops.
Gradually taking over your body until one day you'll just be gone.
We are trapped in a dying body, set to slowly fade away as Johnny Silverhand takes over.
I have been told to call a crematorium and find out how much it would cost to be cremated, because I had maybe a month or 6 weeks, and that I needed to know that so that I could pay the money up front before I died. And I have made the call to the crematorium, and I found out that it was $750. Thank you very much.
One of the earliest promises of Cyberpunk 2077 is that you will die. Getting the news isn't delivered with hopefulness or reassurance or with ambitions to take back control. You are left limping out, having to improvise and pull all strings you can. There's no medicine to stop the process. It is not your body giving out, it is the unstable relic slowly overwriting your whole identity with that of a nuke-using cyber-terrorist rock star. You're given 2 pills from Misty. One to suppress Johnny, and one to let him take over.
Free the demon, so to speak.
Fuck I need pills for. Ought to just stick a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger.
Speaking of Johnny,
Now like that! Stick some iron in your mouth and pull the trigger!
he wants to take over your body to live on, refusing to accept his own death. This quickly stops being the case, however, as he now wants to finish what he started, and he needs you alive for that. He wants to bring down Arasaka again.
V, I've declared war not because capitalism's a thorn in my side or out of nostalgia for an America gone by.
Johnny is blinded by his delusions of grandeur, thinking we can and will do what he couldn't. But all we want is to be free of him. Over the duration of the game, the two of you, the literal voice in your head, start to bond. In Johnny's questline, you can choose to give him more control over your body as you start to trust each other. This results in one of the strongest moments of the game, where Johnny comes to terms with his own passing, finding out his body was dumped at a junkyard and nothing he did really mattered.
I don't know. A marker. Something. Anything.
Our egos personalize it, and we consider ourselves special cases.
Yes.
But we're really not, you know? We are part of the whole, and everything in the whole transforms all the time.
We gradually give him more and more control over our body as he gets to say his final goodbyes to his old friends, now being little more of a ghost, also trapped in a dying body. I'm not going to break down every single moment of the game here, there is way too much to talk about. I do, however, want to mention a specific side quest storyline that I believe a lot of players overlook, especially on subsequent playthroughs. In your adventures through the open world, you may come across a strange man.
Contemplation is like the silence in the eye of the storm.
He's a Zen master, who offers you a meditative brain dance. At first, this feels like a scam. Like when we're busy listening to his BD, he'll rob us or something.
We're all gonna die.
I know. And and this is that saying, and I don't know where it comes from, but that meditation is preparation for death.
I think that's true. And meditation is one spiritual practice that prepares us for death.
There are 4 instances where we meet this Zen master, and I will try to break them down. The first meditation is a meditation of the earth element, loving the world and appreciating the beauty of nature. A nature that we don't get to see in this neon dystopia, yet is still ultimately around us. Metal, concrete canyons, neon ice. Meditation of the water element, loving yourself, your body, and appreciating and accepting the emotions you go through. Meditation of the fire element, life itself. The honor of being a soul and getting to exist in the first place, even if the world seems to hate you back. The world has no idea how much violence it took to become this gentle. The final meditation is the meditation of the wind element. I have absolutely no idea what this is about, by the way, but it sounds good. At the end of every session, the Zen Master disappears. This initially isn't that big of a deal, as he probably just gets up and leaves after he gives us the brain dance. But once the final session ends, Johnny shows up, as he sometimes does, and complains about something, as he usually does. We ask him what he thinks of the Zen Master, but he doesn't acknowledge the fact that he's been here.
Fuck, I feel like a dog's shit.
You see that? There was a Zen master here, and poof, he vanished like that.
The fuck are you talking about?
He taught me how to meditate. It was kind of weird.
Not my scene. Go and talk to Misty if it bothers you.
Johnny has neither seen nor experienced what we have regarding the Zen Master. You can choose whether or not to pay for the brain dances. It doesn't really matter if you do or don't. The price of these brain dances are so low that you might as well just pay the man. Paying for the brain dances instead of just asking for them for free is more symbolic of your willingness to give up your material possessions for a moment of quiet. It's merely to further proceed your development as a character. The price increases with every meditation, going from 144 to 233 to 377, and the final one costing 610. It's a part of the Fibonacci sequence, a sequence that signifies natural growth. The Zen Master doesn't seem to be a real person, but a figment of our imagination. Johnny never leaves us. He's here for everything we do, sees what we see, hears what we hear, experiencing what we experience. But he does not see, hear, nor experience the Zen Master. These are the first and last moments of the game where we are truly alone after Johnny has entered our head. This questline is not only a cryptic and deeper look into the essence of being a person in this world, but it also gives this sense of reassurance that hasn't ever been present in the game before. For the first time in a long time, it feels like taking back control of your own body, your own mind. How cruel a fate is it to wither inside your own head, being partly puppeted around by the very thing trying to take you over. At this point, we don't know how our story will end, and the Zen Master confirms one of our deepest fears. You start to fade. You have no strong roots to this world. You are losing touch with yourself. You must purify yourself, regain your equilibrium. We've come too far to give up now. Still, there is this terrible desire to be loved. Still, there is this horror at being left behind.
You've never backed down from anything in your life. Even when you maybe should have. Never look back. If you gotta kill, kill. If you gotta burn it all to the ground, then let it burn.
There are 3 main endings of Cyberpunk 2077. 2 of them branch out in different directions. All of them end in more or less the same conclusion. What are these endings?
Move. I'll take the wheel.
Panam is the glorious hothead nomad we meet while finding out more about the relic. Her connection to her clan is fractured, as she and the clan's leader don't exactly see eye to eye, but we help her prove her worth through a number of loosely put together missions organized by her. After settling their score, she and the clan's leader Saul promises to help us no matter what, as we are now part of the Aldecaldos family. This is what leads us to the star ending. Together with Panam and the rest of the Aldecaldos, we set out to infiltrate Arasaka through a tunnel. This tunnel leads directly to Mikoshi, which can hook us up to Soulkiller, an AI that can trap and separate mind from body. This frees us from Johnny, but the damage is done.
After I transfer your construct into your body, you will die. It is inevitable. It is imminent.
Are you absolutely sure? Check again.
You shall live for about 6 months, perhaps somewhat more.
You're still dying. But at least you are you. 6 months is what you're given, maybe more. You leave Night City with Panam and the Aldecaldos and live the rest of your limited life. In this ending, V is still dying.
You called to tell us that you had 6 months to live.
I have been told that at least a dozen times.
You're up, Johnny. I trust you.
Endo-Tricene Rogue Sokka Tower. An encore. Give up your body to Johnny and he joins up with Rogue and her goons to once again pull off an attack at Arasaka Tower. This time with battle jets, anti-gravity boots, and knocking a satellite out of orbit with a weaponized space shuttle. Connect to Mikoshi, sever the link between you and Johnny, damage is done, still dying, at least you're you, 6 months to live, take over the afterlife, fuck off into space. Look, it's complicated, you get the point. In this ending, V is still dying. Or you can go with the third option.
At last.
Your offer. I accept.
You took your time.
Following up Hanako Arasaka's offer to help her bring down her brother's rebellion. If you help her, she promises to help you get rid of the biochip. After all, Arasaka made the chip. They must know how to handle it, right? Surely enough, we bring down Yorinobu and get one final conversation with Johnny. He scolds us for going with a corporation that not only were behind kidnapping his very soul, but are also behind so much of the pain and suffering throughout Night City that you've spent nearly the whole game defying and fighting against.
Remember what Dex asked you? Quiet life or blaze of glory?
Sure, I remember.
Shame you chose wrong. Damn shame.
Next thing we know, we're at a top Arasaka clinic in space, and the operation was a success. The biochip is gone.
My congratulations again on your success.
Goodbye.
But nothing's really that easy, as we spend an agonizing amount of time sitting through tests and answering questions. This whole epilogue is a cycle of tests. And it feels like absolute torture. Hey, I was playing with that! What's empathy, cognitive, motor, questions, cube, treadmill, cube, Lego Fall Guys, questions, cube, Jackie, treadmill, cube, space, questions, jump scare. Ooh. Tantrum.
Fuck, no, enough! I've had it! Fucking hate this place! Fuck! Fuck you all!
These tests do not lead anywhere, and I think you know the deal by now.
You will be dead before winter.
We're still dying, the damage has been done, and we are given 6 months. However, Takemura works for Arasaka, and Arasaka owns Mikoshi, and you are offered a chance to secure your soul. If you decline the contract, you go back to Earth to live out the rest of your limited life, finally free of Johnny. I mentioned before that 2 of these endings can branch out in a different direction, but that's not quite true. All 3 can actually do that, but I'll talk about the 3rd one a bit later. Towards the final moments of the star ending with Pan Am, you can choose to give your body to Johnny so he can live on, forever sealing you in cyberspace with the digitized psyche of Alt Cunningham. She is the one who separates us from Johnny after we hook up to Mikoshi. You can get the same outcome through the Sun ending with the Rogue, but this time you do it while playing as Johnny. The game externalizes us and puts us in the shoes of the parasite that's been eating away at our brain. This to me feels wrong. If we choose to go through with this, we have to argue with V, the character we've been playing as, customizing, building relationships around the entire game. One of these is giving and one of these is taking. Both of them lead to the Temperance ending. If you rather Johnny lives on, he says his final goodbyes to V before leaving Night City for good in our body. In this ending, Johnny takes over and V is left to rot in cyberspace with Alt. This doesn't spell out death, but is the clearest separation of life away from body that we'll get. His mind is technically alive in Mikoshi, but he is functionally dead. The body is nothing but a vessel. It's simply just a body, a thing to be puppeted around by its host. And once that host is gone, that single signifier of life has faded, what's left is nothing but the body. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a Monster of the Week show following Buffy, also known as the Slayer, as she kills monsters, primarily vampires. Death in this show is not an uncommon topic and is rarely ever embellished upon. We don't get a deeper backstory or insight into these monsters as individuals. They serve to please the fuck yeah part of our brain when we see Buffy kick vampire ass. The show serves as an escape from our day-to-day lives. But all of this, the comfortable predictability, the fast action, the incredible CGI, and all of the, at this point, routine plot points crumble once we reach Season 5, Episode 16, The Body.
Mommy? Hey, Mom!
There is very little left to say about this episode that other people haven't already talked about. It's recognized as one of the best in the show, and for me, it is one of the best representations of death in modern media. The episode starts bleak. Buffy comes home, reads a note, calls out to her mother.
Mom?
Buffy finds her mother lying on the couch.
Mom? Mom? Mommy?
She appears to be dead. However, we know this show and we know its tricks. We know that this isn't her mother, but some form of demonic apparition. We get a flashback to a dinner scene when they discussed something similar happening before. A moment of instant recognition from Buffy as she uses her superhuman memory to Her mother is lying dead on the couch. She calls out, no response. She shakes her, no response. Buffy is in shock, and she has to do what she has never had to do before this moment. Call 911.
911 emergency. Hello? It's my mom. She's not breathing.
Is she conscious?
No, I can't. She's not breathing.
Okay,
The operator on the other line is completely callous to what Buffy has to say. She has probably gotten hundreds of these types of calls, and in a routine-like fashion starts going through a checklist. She tells Buffy to start CPR on her mother. Buffy breaks one of her ribs and tells the operator about it.
Are you there? I broke something.
Hello?
It cracked.
Is she breathing?
No, she's cold.
Buffy lets her know that her mother is cold, and now the operator refers to her mother as the body.
The body is cold?
No, my mom.
Buffy promptly corrects
make
her.
her
This is
warm?
not just a body, it's her mother, and she's being dehumanized.
Your best thing is to wait for the paramedics, okay?
When will they be here?
They're very nearby.
The roles here are reversed in a way. Buffy is no longer the one in control, she is no longer the hero, no longer the one following a routine. She is now the lost victim of tragedy.
She's in here.
The paramedics finally arrived to the scene, and thank God they weren't too late. Any second longer, and it might have been over for her mother.
Thank God you found me in time.
As the paramedic is giving Buffy the, again, routine-like rundown of there's nothing you could have done, and I'm sorry for your loss, and your mother's dead, we never really get to see his eyes. The camera is almost dehumanizing him the same way that the operator dehumanized Buffy's mother. The eyes being the most important factor when speaking to someone, and not showing his eyes removes him as a person from this scenario, and
try not to disturb the body.
Buffy's friend shows up to help. He sees Joyce and runs up to her.
Joyce?
They're coming for her. No,
Joyce!
we're not supposed to move the body.
This is just a body. It is no longer her mother. This is one of the most grounded in reality depictions of death that I've ever seen. We're tricked with very brief escape scenarios, like how the show itself works as an escape for us, but quickly smashes us back into reality. Every character handles the situation differently. No one truly knows how to react. There's no music throughout the episode. There's no monster behind this, no wild action. In the show's boldest move, it breaks away from the pattern of familiarity, of vampires and demons, of backflips and sick moves, to deliver onto us a gut-wrenching death scene that's just normal, in a show that otherwise refuses normality. In the world of Cyberpunk 2077, life is not limited to the body. The body, as mentioned, is merely a suit for the mind to pilot, with mind uploading being a core part of the game story. Johnny Silverhand's personality construct was trapped in a data shard for over 50 years, sealed away in a digital hellscape with no awareness of his situation or of the passing of time. Actually, you know what? It's about time we talk about Soul Killer. Soul Killer. I hardly know her. Brain rot. The appropriately named Soul Killer program is what I would consider to be a fate worse than death. Developed by Alt Cunningham, one of the most skilled netrunners in Night City in her time. Originally designed to cut and paste someone's personality and move it onto an engram, leaving the original, probably dysfunctional body and set to be transferred to a different, functional body, allowing for a person to live on if their meat suit was to fail. It's a comforting yet horrifying concept. This technology, in a perfect vacuum of pure theoretics, could yield eternal life where you get to keep all your memories and past experiences. There are characters in this game that are barely human in form, like Adam Smasher, who's basically RoboCop. Only flesh he has left being half his head and some spinal and endocrine parts. He is 96% cybernetic. If this perfected mind uploading becomes reality, how long will it take before minds can be fully uploaded into actual robots? Or for that matter, just any artificially created replacement for the bodies we harbor today. Arasaka kidnapped Alt and rewrote Soulkiller after the program fell into their hands with full intention of using it for more aggressive means. They used this Soulkiller to forcefully extract the minds of people to interrogate them at later points, or possibly to sell someone's ripped identity to the highest bidder.
Mikoshi, one of my father's flagship projects. A data fortress with servers situated on orbital stations all around Earth. Think of it as an archive of personality constructs, digitized psyches.
Try a prison.
A matter of perspective.
Stored in the personality construct databank, also known as Mikoshi, Alt's own mind was separated from her body after Johnny unplugged her, now existing as a rogue AI. Devoid of her past personality, her immortal soulless self roams the net, acting as a cyber god and guardian of the Black Wall. Almost an eldritch force of pure data.
You truly believe time to be your greatest concern. You exist or you do not exist. Two states of being separated by death.
Also, if you look at the world, what you see is things appearing and disappearing. And humans are a part of the whole of that. And humans appear and they disappear off the face of the earth.
There are only two endings in Cyberpunk 2077 that doesn't end with V dead or dying, but they do end in Soulkiller. Aboard the Arasaka space shuttle, after the test results in failure and all hope being lost, if you choose to sign the contract that Takemura offers you, your soul will be preserved in Mikoshi. As you are right now, you will not survive for long. The Soulkiller, however, will preserve your consciousness in the net, but there is no guarantee a new body for you will ever be found. Takemura says they can't grant you a new body with the current technology, as there are compatibility issues. This, like giving your body to Johnny, does not necessarily end in death, but in limbo. Practically and functionally dead, with little hope of one day, 1 year, possibly hundreds of years from now, be granted a new body. And that's it. Those are the endings of Cyberpunk 2077. The game starts off by telling you that you will die, and it delivers on that promise. Only possible hope we could have of surviving is if, I don't know, Idris Elba showed up and started rapping.
They don't want me in the city at night. They don't want me in the city at night. It's my city and it might get shitty and it might get gritty in the morning light.
The Phantom Liberty DLC came out on September 26, 2023, nearly 3 years after the base game's initial release. And it changed everything. The DLC starts off by Somi, also known as Songbird, contacting you and saying she knows about your problem and she can save your life. The base game promises us that we will die. The DLC in return promises us that we will live. It's a spy thriller story where we get hired by the highly skilled netrunner Songbird to help the president of the new United States of America, also known as NUSA. But because this is Cyberpunk, it's not that straightforward. I'll try to be brief here. The DLC, like the base game, has a lot to unpack. But I kinda just want to get to the point. This video is getting way too long and my editing software is starting to crash on me and I have no idea what I am doing, please send help. So you get contacted by Songbird. You go to the meeting point and she pops into your head like Johnny, interacts with Johnny, and shuts him off.
They're both safe.
Nah, fuck
Both
off.
of us on the biochip protocol at once can trigger shocks for V, like you just saw now. Gotta cut you off.
What?
For your safety, for V's safety.
This is barely a minute into the DLC and it has already changed everything. No one has ever interacted with Johnny as a construct apart from you. The only time people get to interact with Johnny is when we make the conscious decision to give him control. Songbird's introduction is absolutely insane, by the way. Like, this has never been possible before, or even part of the conversation, yet she just shows up and opens a whole new fucking world of possibilities. And like, what technology even is this actually? Is this something only she can do? Is Songbird a witch? She just casually puts Johnny Boy on mute like he's a mild annoyance. Jesus fucking Christ, Songbird, you can't just do that. Okay, Deep breaths.
Hansen's people tracked me down after I res the Chimera. I've been detained.
Songbird gets taken by Kurt Hansen, who runs Dogtown, the area where the majority of the DLC takes place, and we are now tasked to find and rescue her, after being recruited by the President herself.
That's right. But taking the oath make it feel more real.
We get put into contact with Solomon Reed, who's a sleeper agent, and Alex, who isn't a black woman. Except yes, she is, because once again we're introduced to technology that has the possibility of changing literally everything we ever knew about the game before. A plan is devised. Break into the mega hotel known as the Black Sapphire and rescue Songbird. This is the first time we get to meet her in person, and she's a lot less human in real form. She's been turned into a net-running weapon of mass data destruction for President Myers to puppet around and infiltrate her enemies' defenses through the Black Wall. We only get to talk to her here though, and she tells us that Kurt has access to what she needs to save her, because she, like us, is dying. Sometime after the middle point of the DLC, you are forced to make a choice, to side with Songbird or Solomon. I'm not going to talk more about the story or gameplay of the DLC, but whenever you decide who to side with, the other one can die in the ending of Phantom Liberty, depending on your choices in the final moments, after you've either sided with Sol or Song. However, there is a new base game ending you only get if you keep both Songbird and Solomon alive, either by giving Songbird up to Reed at a space station, or refusing to honor her final wish of killing her in the core, also giving her up to Solomon Reed and the NUSA. This is how you get the tower ending. Reed tells you that his guys are ready to pick you up. You get a shot of sedative on the flight and pass out right before saying one final goodbye to Johnny. Once you wake up, you're greeted by Reed in a hospital. The operation was a success, and I am immediately given flashbacks to the devil ending with Arasaka. However, here, you are completely free of Johnny, and you are not given 6 months. Instead, you are taken away 2 years of your life.
You were out for 2 years. It's 2079.
Your body can no longer handle the load of all of your cybernetics, or it would break you down. Even the smallest combat enhancement can kill you. You are alive, you will live, but you are now just a regular person, entirely restored to your fleshy body. Just another face in the crowd. This is the only ending in the game that doesn't end in death or in Soul Killer. It's instead a death of your old you. The character you've been building and the person you've been trying to be is gone. Jackie is dead, your friends moved on, Johnny is gone, Misty is going to leave for Poland, Victor sold out to the corpse. It is just you and that mortal little head of yours. This is as happy of an ending we are going to get.
Would you rather live in pieces, Mr. Nobody, die ripe, old, and smelling slightly of urine, or go down for all times in a blaze of glory, smelling near like posies, without seeing your 30th?
His feet shift, teeter-totter. Deep breath, stand back, it's time.
The view from halfway down is the penultimate episode of BoJack Horseman. At this point, BoJack has let everyone down. He has pushed people away and have gotten some of his closest friends killed. We find ourselves at a dinner party. BoJack is the guest of honor, and everyone else is people whose deaths BoJack take personal responsibility for, have caused, or have just haunted him. We initially aren't told what's going on here, but eventually find out that BoJack has blacked out in a pool and is going to drown. At this moment, we know BoJack is going to die. As he's drowning, his mind is pulling all of these memories of people into an end-of-life conclusion, subconsciously torturing himself one final time.
Has anyone ever come back from this place?
BJ, there is no place. It's just your brain going through what it feels like it has to go through.
This isn't, however, a suicide, but an accident. Or at least that is what he is trying to tell us.
No, wait, I got out of the pool. Yes, and I called Diane.
The title of the episode shares the name of a poem written by Bojack's made-up version of Secretariat, a celebrity he watched growing up. Secretariat takes the place of Bojack's real father, as throughout his childhood served as a father figure way more than his real dad ever did. Secretariat, however, did die from suicide. He jumped from a bridge.
The weak breeze whispers nothing. The water screams sublime. His feet shift, teeter-totter. Deep breath, stand back, it's time. Toes untouched the overpass. Soon he's waterbound. Eyes locked shut but peek to see the view from halfway down. I'm not done. Hold on. I'm not done. I'm not done. A little wind, a summer sun, a river rich and regal. A flood of fond endorphins brings a calm that knows no equal. You're flying now. You see things much more clear than from the ground. It's all okay. It would be. Were you not now halfway down? Thrash to break from gravity. What now could slow the drop? All I'd give for toes to touch the safety back at top. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. I don't want to...
It's okay.
But this is it. The deed is done. Silence drowns the sound. Before I leaped, I should have seen the view from halfway down. No, I really should have thought about the view from halfway down.
Find your peace, big guy. Find it.
I wish I could have known about the view from halfway down.
The poem, The View from Halfway Down, is about jumping and regretting it halfway. Sometimes, people have survived their fall. Almost all of them say that they regretted taking that leap. Recognizing that all the people that passed away might have wished they were still here. It's a very troubling thing to think about, says Kevin Hines, who on September of 2000 jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. While falling, he says that depression escaped him and got replaced by an innate urge to survive. I have met thousands of people who have survived mild, moderate to extreme suicide attempts, who all have said they each had the same instant regret. There is, sometimes, cases of hope coming at just the right moment. Like Kevin Berthia, who in 2005 attempted to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, but quickly regretted it and ended up holding onto the railing for nearly 2 hours. I swung myself around and smacked into the railing, and got on that 4-inch cord. The poem is a countdown, with the black door appearing 3 times to indicate a shift in perspective. The first part of the poem is in third person, the second part is in second person, and the final part in first person. Deep breath, stand back, it's time.
You know, it really is beautiful.
There is one final ending to Cyberpunk 2077 that I've neglected to mention thus far. Throughout your journey to find a way to take back control and remove the relic, or to become a Night City legend, your actions have directly and indirectly led to the people closest to you getting hurt or killed. So now here you are, one final mission. Who do you go with? Panam and the Aldecaldos, Takemura and Arasaka, or do you let Johnny take over, then take Rogue and her goons? You know the risk of taking them with you. You know that you can't guarantee anyone's safety. All of this just for you, not for the future of Night City, not for any greater good, for you. So you ask yourself why you should risk all these people, as a new option is presented to you.
There is another option, you know.
What?
We put all this, the pills, everything, to bed.
Alongside the pills, you were also given a gun, after all. The camera, like in all endings, detaches from first person and goes into third person, where now we get to see V justify his reasoning to Johnny, who realizes it's meaningless to talk V out of it. Johnny doesn't disagree with V here. They're more in sync now than ever before. The game ends, and the final message is sent to us after V's death are heartbreaking. You get these messages during the end credits of each ending, and they're completely dependent on your relationship with the characters and which ending you went for. However, here, it's a lot more personal.
We're gonna miss you, kid.
Judy is breaking down. Panam is furious. Misty is trying to rationalize it. Your decision to pull the trigger did this. In this ending, V dies. Evelyn's role in the main story takes a backseat after she's helped us get information on the relic in Compeke Plaza, and leans more into one of the major side stories. With the help of Judy, we try and find her after she's gone missing, only to find she has returned to her old place of work, gotten sold off to a ripper doc named Fingers, who we ended up in a snuff BD location where she was beaten senseless as she's been hooked up to the net. We take her back to Judy's apartment, but she's too shook to speak. While we're off finding out who her employer was, Judy calls.
Can you come over, Stat?
Something happened?
Yeah. Just come.
Bird offs herself to express her undying gratitude to you for saving her ass.
Stop talking.
I was only gone an hour.
The trauma was too much. The violence went too far.
No! Today! What part of death don't you understand?
I know this transfigure. I know, but come on. There's no way to stop the heartbreak. What do you do about that?
You cry. You cry.
We're hired by a Bill Jablonski to kill the man who murdered his wife. Things go, as the Zen Master probably would put it, entirely up the fuck. Bill gets shot by the police officer escorting Joshua, but before he shoots us, Joshua stops him.
It's not their fault. Shoot the guy, and our deal is dead.
Asking to end this violence, and asks us to come with him. Out of morbid curiosity, we get in the car. We find out he's a changed man, he says, looking for forgiveness as he's found God. He tells us that he killed several people in cold blood earlier in life, and now he means to make amends. As he takes us to Suleika, the now widow of the man he killed, the woman who helped him find God, and she lets us know what it is that he actually plans to do.
Joshua, he thinks he's the Messiah and wants to end his own life.
That is not true. I never said I was any sort of Messiah.
Sounds fucked in the head. What do you think about this, Johnny?
He's fucked in the head. The world's fucked in the head. And you're fucked in the head because my fucked up head is inside it.
Thanks, Johnny. We get invited to the studio where he seems to have gotten cold feet, but eventually pulls himself together. But this isn't just suicide by gun, or medicine, or any other common method. This man has found God.
I would like you to wield the hammer. Nail me to the cross.
And so naturally, he does this by getting crucified. And we're the ones to nail him to the cross, and... dear God.
Do you not fear God? You stand condemned under the same sentence.
The music here is oppressive. This does not feel like we're helping a man reach for salvation. The scene is deeply disturbing. It's not just something that we watch happen, but we're the ones to make it happen. This is a brutal form of suicide, one that we help him perform. You can't talk him out of this, you can only choose to either partake or walk away. As you raise the cross, your new objective becomes to just stand and wait. Wait for him to die.
Truly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise.
The game knows exactly what it is doing here. It knows exactly what this entails. And it forces us to stand and watch. This man has killed countless people in his life. The game never tells you what it thinks he deserves, and it leaves it up to you to decide whether or not this is justice or cruelty. One of the rogue sentient cars that Delamain asks us to recover... Okay, bear with me here.
Guess I'll have to do it myself then.
Whoa,
There's even a sentient car about to kill itself. And we talk it out of it. This is the only suicide in the game we can prevent, and it's a car. But we did also just talk about one's physical form being nothing but a body, so make of this what you will. Kerry Eurodyne was one of the members of Samurai, the band Johnny Silverhand played in. He very briefly mentions, or is about to mention, being close to blasting himself with a pistol he gifts you.
Tried to shoot me.
Yeah. And earlier... And never mind.
Songbird begs you to kill her once you reach her in the core, saying she tried to do it herself but couldn't find the strength.
I tried on my own. Don't have the strength. Please.
This might not be a case of a character we meet committing or thinking of committing suicide, but there's even a quick hack called suicide, which forces an enemy to put a bullet in their own head. Suicide as a theme is plastered all around Cyberpunk 2077. It's an unescapable dystopia littered with hopelessness and fear. And yet, Bojack doesn't drown in that pool. During the end credits we hear his heart monitor start to kick in, and unlike in Buffy, this is not a fake out. The penultimate episode in literal terms is about the motions of suicide. But the message of the episode, as made clear by the poem, is very deliberately anti-suicide. This doesn't necessarily mean it ends happy, however, as the final episode serves as a final goodbye to all of the main characters. Bojack reflects on everything that's happened, how he has affected the people around him and how he's grown as a person. He's still a piece of shit, mind you, but that doesn't make this ending any less beautiful. BoJack Horseman is about the endless complexity of being a person, and while its end is depressing, it's also hopeful. It's a form of yearning that every character in this show has been going through, and whether or not they got what they wanted in the end.
Oh well, it was nice while it lasted, right?
The body does actually have a monster. One vampire rises in the morgue and is quickly dispatched of. During the fight, the cover over Joyce's body reveals her face. Buffy manages to fight off a vampire while right next to her dead mother and keeping her composure while doing it. Because fighting monsters is her fate, her sacred duty, and this loss too shall pass. At the start of Cyberpunk 2077, we are promised to die, and we are led to believe it will be an agonizing death. The many endings of the game, however, refuses this notion of agony and slowly withering in a corner. Whether it be with the help of our friends, our loved ones, or associates, or a rocker boy, we tear our way through victory. No matter the outcome, we leave claw marks on whatever stands in our path. If you were to choose the suicide ending, the game does not forgive you or try to justify it, nor should it. The messages your friend leave is soul-crushing, and it leaves you feeling like shit, which it should. However, while this ending is a suicide ending, the point of it is to serve as an anti-suicide message, and it wildly succeeds. How could you ever want to let anyone go through that? How could you ever dare to stop fighting? I said in the beginning that the game is about death and dying, but I think there's more to it than that. Cyberpunk 2077 tells us that we are going to die, But instead of just being a miserable tale of cynicism and nihilism, it offers us a story of growth and of being. It assures us that our dying breath can be a sigh of relief and not of a regret. In its most hopeless moments, at every dead end, the game tries its hardest to make us fear death, fear losing, fear the Reaper. And yet, we dance, yet we love, yet we experience, yet we yearn, yet we forgive, yet we fight. Because if you can't beat fear, fuck it. Just do it scared.
You don't see death as destruction, the end, but as a change. That thought alone could save your life. You've never backed down from anything in your life. Even when you maybe should have. You go through Night City knowing a stray bullet could end you while hailing a cab. But that's never stopped you from taking action. Going where you needed to go. And it won't stop you